everyone. Welcome to Sad Panda Presents. This is a podcast about music. We're going to talk about some different albums we're listening to, what we're going to. Sometimes we drink and say offensive shit, so there's that. Right now, we are talking about the 100 greatest albums of all time as decided by theconsequenceofsound.net. And today we are discussing Radiohead's album Kid A. So I'm Andrew.
And I'm Shane.
What's up, man? What's been going on?
Oh, not a lot. Well, we're in the middle of a pandemic, so that's fun, exciting.
No shit.
Yeah, so it's been eye-opening, for sure. This is a very, I don't have to tell anybody. You're going through this shit. It's fucking nuts. I don't know who the fuck's not washing their hands or wiping their ass, but apparently everybody did all at once. Everybody was like, oh shit, we gotta stock up. I gotta make up for lost time.
Yeah. I keep seeing this meme over and over again of people in hazmat suits going, well, they're all dead, but did you see how clean their buttholes were?
That's funny. Yeah, man, it's fucking crazy, man. I actually, this weekend was the start of my spring break. So I ended up going to Austin to see some family and hung out with them. And while we were there, my stepdad and I went to HEB to go get some soda because we drank them all because of the rum.
Right.
And like you do. And so we went to HEB and man, I walked down the aisle to buy something or to get the sodas and I sneezed real loud. And they stopped dead in their tracks and gave me a fucking death glare. I thought people were gonna start throwing Lysol wipes at my face.
That's awesome.
Come spray my ass or some shit.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, it's nuts, man. I just got they just made the decision today at my school that we're gonna shut down until the second week of April or the first full week of April. So I'm off for like the next 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
Fucking A, man.
That's fucking nuts. Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty crazy, man. My mom, she's also a teacher and she's off till like the 14th.
Fuck.
I don't know what the fuck's gonna. Yeah, man, I don't know what the fuck. They canceled the STAR test. Like our in Texas, we have the STAR test, which is our state kind of evaluation test for each student. They canceled that like on Monday. Greg Abbott put it into that bill that he's going to cancel that. So my first thought was, awesome. We go back to school and the kids don't give a fuck anymore. Great. I can't hold that fucking thing over their heads. Like, you got to pass your STAR or whatever, but looks like it's not going to happen. So
right.
Yeah. So it's been and then we got to start, I think, I got a notification saying that I have to set up my Google Classroom and I have to start doing lessons from home and all this crazy shit. And I'm not sure what's going to happen or how it's going to work or anything like that. So it's kind of fucking crazy right now. Everything's, shit's up in the air.
Yeah. That's, that's fucking wild, man.
Yeah. So I fucking, just been chilling. My nephew was it yesterday. Yesterday, I went out and played golf with one of the math teachers, a buddy of mine. We played 18, and while we were out there, my nephew, my brother and my sister-in-law are in Australia right now.
Oh, okay.
So they went for a week to Australia, and so during the course of things, my mom and stepdad are watching my nieces and nephews. Well, one of my nephews decided to go fuck off and hang out with his friends yesterday, and my dad got all pissed off, and he's like, "Hey, man, fucking, I don't want him around mom because she's real susceptible to things like this. Like, she gets sick a lot, and she has like asthma, and so she's like high risk for this kind of stuff."
Yeah.
So basically, he was like, "Hey, man, what are we gonna do with him?" And I said, look, he can either do one of two things. He can go home since nobody's at the house. Like, him and his brother can just chill at their house, or he can stay, my back apartment. And so he decided to do that. So he's been kicking it here, and I bought him some snacks and like frozen foods and stuff he could microwave and things like that, just in case. So
Right, okay.
So I had to kick his ass out because this is where I record. I was like, go fuck off for like 2 hours.
Yeah. So,
$20 and go fuck off. You can buy a G and get high or something like that.
Yeah.
Whatever he's gonna do.
I mean, you've got that garage seating area. You can go hang out in there and get stoned or whatever.
I mean, he probably wants to be with his friends anyway, so it's fun.
Yeah.
That's fine. I don't give a shit. Whatever. He wants to get fucking corona. That's fine. I don't care. And give it to his parents when they get back.
Yeah.
For me having to deal with him. Yeah. So it's been nuts, man. How about you on your side? How's everything? I figured you as far as like making energy would be like essential personnel. Like y'all can't quit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I mean, wind farms are nice in the fact that once they're running, they're pretty much good. Like we did have that big outage at the beginning of February, and so like it was all hands on deck for that kind of thing. But you know, when we had a failure, but for the most part, like it runs itself. Like there's nobody manning anything, technically speaking, like sitting there watching gauges for no reason. Cause we're not
like meter reader or anything like that.
Not really. Cause we're not thermal. So.
Oh, that makes sense.
Like
so
there's no like risk of like fires and stuff because, I mean, we did have an explosion in the substation yard, but it was.
I was gonna say, didn't a fucking skunk blow up one of your fucking things one time?
Yeah, but that event lasts like a 20th of a second and it's done. It's all metal.
True.
So it just goes pop and it's done. I mean, it takes us offline and we have to be all hands on deck to get the plant running again.
Yeah.
So for an event like that, for sure, like everybody's around. But I mean, and then we have like our actual wind turbine techs that are on site every day, and there's like 5 or 6 of them. And so they go out and they do preventative maintenance and upgrades and check out faults that may have, you know, if a tower goes into no communication, or if something happens where they need to go in and like manually reset it, stuff like that. So, you know, that is stuff they do on a pretty daily basis. But yeah, we're operations. So we are there, doing our own maintenance and stuff on the substation and like making sure everything's running well and making things more efficient. So we do have a need to be there. So, like I'd say a solid 50 to 75% of my work, is office work kind of stuff, like writing procedures and shit that I could do remotely if I needed to. But there's that other like 20 to 50%, depending on the week, of where I've got to be there to like oversee a switching operation or, you know, carry out one of these procedures that I've written to make sure that everything's safe so that, you know, nobody dies.
Yeah, for sure.
So fucking, our corporate office sent out a directive that says, okay, here's the thing. Everybody that can work at home, except for operations. Which is my group, so
except
it's like
for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like
that's usually how that shit works.
Right. So like my manager, me and my 2 techs on site, we're there, but like our admin has the option and of working from home if she wants to, and like all of the people in the Houston office are like working from home and shit like that. So it's like, hooray! I still
Fuck you. Yeah.
But it's not that big a deal, man. Like I interface with people. I should rephrase that. I face-to-face interface with like 3 people on a daily basis.
Oh, okay. So it's not, you're not like crazy risker for a lot of shit or anything like that.
No. And the,
okay. Well, I guess that's not too bad.
The turbine guys have been staggered so that they're coming in one team at a time, and it's a team of 2 guys. And we have 3 of them right now. So they come in one team every 30 minutes, and then they go out to they get their safety briefing, and they get their morning stretches out of the way, and then they go out to their towers, then the next guys come in, so on and so forth, so that if
so
one of
in a big,
right, so if one of those guys contracts it, it's just him and his partner,
Okay, yeah.
And then the other two teams are still operational.
Okay, well, I mean that's a good initiative. I didn't think to do that, but that's a good idea.
So it's not too bad. My work hasn't changed at all, so it's not that big a deal.
Okay.
But yeah, it's a thing. I don't know that there's any cases in San Angelo yet, so that's also good.
Yeah, we haven't had any in our area yet. For the most part, I think there's one in Corpus, like in the Coastal Bend area. But as far as Claiborne County, we're good.
Yeah,
but. Especially since they asked us like what we were doing for spring break and where we were going and what days we were leaving to return, I think they just kind of wanted to be on the safe side of all that.
Right.
So, I mean, I get it. You know what I mean? Especially there are fucking idiots who go do things. Like, why would you go to a fucking amusement park right now?
Right.
So, it is what it is. That's fine.
Yeah, I know that.
Let me ask you.
Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. I was going to completely change the subject.
That's fine. I was going to say our spring break has been extended a week, and I think they're going to move to online classes after that. But other than that, I don't know of anything else that's going on in my area. Anyway, moving on.
So you mentioned, you said if one of the towers goes out. Okay, all right. First of all, let me ask this: can you remind me what the difference is between series and parallel? Like how they operate? Like I know one, like they're connected, right?
Yeah. So in electrical sense, series. It means that like if you take two batteries, right? Mm-hmm. So if you connect those batteries in series, you're connecting the positive of one battery to the negative of the next battery, and then the negative of that first battery and the positive of that last battery go to whatever you're supplying, and that
so it's like a chain.
That's a chain, so it'll double the voltage. Parallel would mean that both positives of both batteries get connected to the positive of the device, and both negatives of each battery get connected to the negative of the device. So you have the same voltage, if I remember correctly, the same voltage, but twice the capacity, if you will.
Twice the capacity, yeah, for sure. So like street lights, they're in parallel, is that right?
I have
one goes out,
no idea.
One is like, because I'm just thinking like in street lights where if one goes out, that's just the one. It doesn't knock out the whole.
Probably so.
Parallel, right?
That would be parallel. I would assume that's a parallel system. I mean, streetlights are probably connected to a PLC, where it sends an individual signal to each light.
Oh, okay.
Most likely, I don't know though, because I don't work on that kind of system.
Okay, I wondered because you said one of the towers went out, and I didn't know if like one tower goes out, does it knock out all of them? Kind of like if they were in a series, then that would knock out everything, or if they were like parallel, where one can work. If one goes out, the others are still operational. That was my whole question.
Oh, okay. So we do have what's called a feeder circuit. Multiple turbines are connected to each feeder circuit. So we have like 76 turbines on site, and 8 feeders. So that's about 9 turbines per feeder.
75 divided by 8. Yeah.
So they're kind of in series and they're kind of in parallel. They
kind of do both. Not as like a whole system. Okay, I got it.
Right.
I think I got it. I just didn't know.
So if one goes down, theoretically, it shouldn't take the entire string down. But sometimes they do.
Oh, okay. I don't know. It's fucking Calvin Ball around here.
Dude, it is.
It's fucking magic. I don't know.
There's redundancy built in. And they should all be in like a quote unquote parallel system, kind of. It's kind of both, but not, if that makes sense. Chaos theory. No, it's not chaos.
Yeah. Life finds a way.
Yeah. We got Goldblum's one of our head guys.
Turns out.
No, it's kind of a little bit of both. There is some redundancy built into the system, but sometimes redundancy fails too. So.
Okay. I'm just curious. I didn't mean to. I just didn't think it was going to take that long for you to say the answer, that it's both. So I get it. I'm ready to move on.
Yeah. Okay.
Got it. Okay, so do you want to go ahead and get into why we're here today?
Sure. Kid A. So,
Kid A.
So I know you're extremely familiar with both Radiohead and this album.
I very much am, sir.
Yeah, I am less familiar than I thought I was with this album. But I did listen to it like 8 times. So
yeah, for sure. It's a good album. It's their fourth, and it dropped in 2000, I think October, I believe. And there are things here. I want to say this is, for me as a whole, when I listen to this album, I want it to be, I have an idea and I want it to make it work, but it kind of falls apart throughout the whole idea of the album.
Okay.
But before I get into that, we have a producer that we saw, Nigel Godrich, which I talked about on the Beck Midnight Vultures. I believe he was the producer on that one.
Okay.
Or was it Dust? But I think it was either that one or the Dust Brothers. I can't remember. But Nigel Godrich, he did the music for Scott Pilgrim. He works with Beck a lot, and I know he does like almost exclusively Radiohead albums. And so he's the producer on this one. So it has a lot of. That's why it's real intricate sounding. Like it's very technical. You know.
Yeah.
What I mean?
Yeah. So Tom York really likes this guy.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, a lot of like really in that kind of weird white people thing. Nigel Godrich is a very big influence.
Okay, yeah. All right.
Tom York is a weird fucking guy.
Yeah.
But if you've ever seen, there's a video called Lotus Flower. One of the songs in King of Limbs is called Lotus Flower, and in that he dances. Holy shit! Tom York can move, man. He can.
Okay.
Move.
All right.
So. Again, skinny white dude who can move and fucking makes good music, like him and Beck. Like,
yeah. Yeah.
There's a real trend going on if you haven't noticed before.
Yeah. So, like I said, I wasn't as familiar with this album as I thought I might be. I am slightly more familiar with In Rainbows.
Yeah, that was their free one. Or their pay to purchase.
Okay,
in 2012.
Maybe it's not In Rainbows then. Maybe it is. I don't remember. Fuck. Now you got me thinking.
That one had Lotus Flower. No, it didn't. Yeah, that one did have Lotus Flower. That one had Lotus Flower and 15 Step and
is it?
I cut my hand up where I got started.
Okay, so here's the thing. Right around my last year or so in college, I got super into Radiohead, specifically one album. Where I had this affinity to eat a whole bunch of mushrooms and listen to one specific Radiohead album that I really liked, because it was great for mushrooms. And it was like you could play this album and it would basically, if you put it on loop, it would basically fade back into itself. Like the last song would basically, the last song led back into the first song extremely well.
I think that might be OK Computer.
Okay, maybe it's that one. Anyway,
that's hailed as like their best one, and I think that's at like number 8 or number 9 on our list. It's up there. It's really up there.
Yeah,
anyway, we'll get to that one.
I was gonna say it's got a lot of ambient sounds, but Radiohead. So
yeah.
I don't remember, but
maybe I don't know.
I thought it was In Rainbows, but now that you say it's a paid for one, I don't know that I paid for it. I know I might have listened to it on Spotify or something. You know what I mean?
Okay. No. Well, no. When In Rainbows came out, what they did was they decided that Radiohead decided that you can pay whatever you want for the album. So
okay.
you go on their website and then you could pay $0. You could pay a penny. You could pay $1,500. I mean, whatever you wanted to pay for the album.
Okay.
And I remember I downloaded it for free because I think I wanted to hear the album, but then I didn't get paid for a couple of days, so I downloaded it. Then I bought it again, and I paid I gave him $20.
Okay.
That was what it was going to cost anyway.
Maybe that's.
I think it was Go ahead.
Maybe that's it then. I don't remember. I don't know. I'd have to eat a bunch of mushrooms and listen to their discography to figure it out.
Oh no! We can do it for science. Damn the luck! Let's go to Colorado.
So
airplanes are really cheap or flights are really cheap right now. Yeah.
So yeah, one thing I need you to do for me, real quick, and I hope I remember to edit this out, is we didn't do a sync up at the beginning of this. So
ball sack.
Yeah, because I'm not recording your audio this time. So if you could repeat after me, 3, 2, 1.
3, 2, 1.
3, 2, 1.
3, 2, 1.
1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, no problem. No problem. Even though it's like been 15 minutes, it's fine. Like 10 more minutes recording before that.
Yeah, so yeah, I just forgot because we haven't had a fuck up like this in a while, and
like this in a minute. Yeah, since like Elliott Smith,
something like that.
Elton John, or I don't know. Yeah, but well, I'm already 3/4 of the way through a bottle of Dollar General Cabernet Sauvignon, so I'm alright.
Well, alright. I just finished my Cosmos, and I'm into this Wicked Juicy IPA by Shiner.
Oh, the Juicy's alright. It's not a bad IPA.
I just tasted it. It's okay.
It's okay. It's not like my go-to for an IPA,
no.
And it's a full flavored, but it's alright.
It's good, but it's not. Yeah, it's definitely not my favorite. What I did was I saw a 6-pack at the store. I went to go get some beer and some wine and a bunch of stuff. And could you stop? Sorry, the dog's bothering me. No, she's like licking my hand and shit.
Oh, okay.
And so I went to the store and I saw the Shiner brewery tour, and I was like, oh fuck, there's a Cosmos in there. Well, I'm gonna get a 6-pack of that. So I grabbed for myself for this recording Cosmos, the Wicked Juicy IPA, and a Ruby Redbird to finish it off because.
Ooh, that's a good.
Yeah, dude,
that's almost like a meal.
Dude, I know. I haven't had a Ruby Redbird in a hot minute.
Yeah, they're good.
I've been drinking a lot of Prickly Pear because that's what Kirsten's been buying for me, and which is great.
And it's fucking awesome.
It's wonderful. But I was just like, man, I haven't had a Redbird in a hot minute. So yeah, she fills the fridge with Shiner Original and Prickly Pear, and I'm just like, well, I'm not going to complain. Like,
could be worse.
Yeah. So okay. So
no, it could be worse. So anyway,
so about
we
this
are
album,
everything we can do to fucking not talk about this album.
Sorry.
It's fine. It's fine. I don't give a shit.
I did have a question about Radiohead since you're more familiar. They are a full band, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's I think it's a 4-piece set. I think it's 4 pieces. Yeah.
I mean, I knew Tom York had a bunch of musicians that he liked to work with, but I wasn't sure if like Radiohead was its own specific group of musicians or not.
Yeah, for sure. It's a specific group, kind of like Tool. Like,
okay,
Maynard is kind of the lead man, but there are 2 other members in Tool, but there's 3 others in Radiohead. But also, I believe Neil Godrich also produced Tom York's both of his solo albums.
Okay. Yeah,
and maybe that might be another album that you're thinking of for the tripping thing, because he did have like he had one really popular one. I can't remember. Erasure, I think is the name of the album, and then he had another one like I can't remember the name of that other one, but
man,
they're both good. Both good. They're both Radioheady. They have that real like techno-y vibe with like the fun sounds and things like that. So I mean, it's not too far. It's kind of like what Maynard did with like Tool and A Perfect Circle.
Okay,
they kind of have a same sound, but one's a little more lighter and the other one's a little more Tool's more heavy, but A Perfect Circle is like Tool light.
So that's what I was thinking, but I wanted to ask because goddamn, like the drums specifically stuck out to me on several of these songs, and I was just going, damn, this they sound like real drums, but it sounds like, I mean, the precision and like the repeatability of these measures is machine like. The dude's a fucking amazing drummer.
Yeah, man. This is one of the few bands that I've actually seen live.
Right.
And they were fucking phenomenal. They are amazing live.
Like, I knew he had a guitar player in there, and I knew that he had a bass player in there, and there's a whole bunch of, like, fucking keyboard or synth stuff going on in the background sometimes, and so I wasn't, and I knew he had a really affluent producer, so I wasn't sure if he was using a drum machine or not, but I was going, they sound like real drums.
No, there's a real drummer.
Because they definitely don't sound like digital drums. They sound real, especially the way the toms hit. But the fucking, just the rhythm and the precision of it was just fucking so on point, like that it had me confused. I was like,
for sure. Especially
it sounds like a robot playing the drums, like, so.
Well, that's kind of I think in the song they're really thinking of is like Optimistic. They have like a real like drum heavy sound, and it's like it has that do 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 do, and it has that tom, like a lot of toms in that.
It does. There's another one. Kid A also has that. It comes in on drums, on the toms specifically, and it's fucking, dude. It's hypnotic. So I guess that leads us into songs that we think are good, because obviously I think those two songs are really good. But yeah, dude, like Kid A just had me like mesmerized with the fucking intro that he came in on.
Yeah, that
yeah. Well, and he switches it up. He moves from this very tom heavy intro, and he moves over to the snare for a little bit, and then he moves back to the toms for a little while, and he's like I said, it's almost robotic how accurate he is. And with the weight of his drumsticks and I don't know if that's the right word, like the amount of force he uses to hit it. Fuck, we should have had goddamn Kyle Collins on here to talk about the drums in this album, but the way he's playing is...
Yeah, who talks about a drummer in a band?
Dude, I know, but it just... You know what I mean? Like, it fucking had...
When was the last time we talked about a drummer?
I don't know, but this specific drummer has me goddamn hypnotized. And so I just wanted to bring that up and ask, like, that's not a machine, right? Like, this is a person doing this? 'Cause it could be both. Like...
Yeah, it could. I mean, especially on for a band like this, for sure, where they do have like a lot of synth and things like that, and very kind of atypical music,
right?
Or atypical instruments, I should say.
Okay, well that was one of the highlights for me. What was the highlight for you?
Okay, I mean, for the most part, so I've had this theory about this album for a while, and I can't. It falls apart. But I've kind of had it for a while, so I just want to get it out there. And if it doesn't stick, it doesn't stick. But Kid A, what I always assumed was this album was about like sentient life coming from the internet or from technology. So think of like Ghost in the Shell kind of thing.
Right.
You know what I mean? Where like 2501 became self-aware.
Right.
And so for me, like when you start off with everything in its right place, for me it feels like that was like everything had to fall into pieces for this to happen.
Okay.
And then like everything in its right place and all that kind of stuff, and it's kind of finding itself out. Like the first song is about it realizing that it's actually self-aware.
Okay.
Coming to terms with that. And then you get into the song Kid A, and it has that beat that you were talking about, but it also has like those unintelligible words.
Yeah, it does.
And so now it's like realizing that it can understand but can't communicate back. Kind of like what you see with like babies,
right?
Where they can register that you're a thing, that you're something different, but they cannot communicate their feelings back to you because they don't have that ability yet.
Okay.
And then Natural Anthem, I feel like that's kind of it becoming aware of what society is, like what people are, and that's why, So Alone, just this kind of, and it has that chaotic sound to it.
Sure, yeah.
Like where, you know what I mean? Where you get so much information all at once as you're learning to be a person that it's just so confusing and muddled that it's having that kind of calamity, if you will.
Sure.
And then How to Disappear Completely, we lead into that one, and that's more of like that it's kind of overloaded by all these new senses and feelings and stuff, and how it just wants to kind of rescind. And then we go into Tree Fingers, where it's kind of that calm, soothing, like, okay, like self-reflecting thing. Then we go to Optimistic, where you look on the bright side. And then in Limbo is where you find out that kind of life just is what it is.
Okay.
And then we go into Idiot, where you really take a look at the panic and worry and the stress of life and things like that. Mm-hmm. And it deals with that. And then we go to Morning Bell, which is kind of like a divorcing themselves away from society as a whole, because it's above us, kind of like Dr. Manhattan, where he had that separation from the human condition.
All right, sure.
And then what's the last motion picture soundtrack? And then it's just that depression of like settling into what life really is, and understanding like it's not great, but it is what it is.
Okay.
And then we go into Untitled, that has that weird that kind of exit out. So it's that ending, not ending life. I wouldn't say suicide, but maybe that firm disconnection from humanity.
Okay.
So that's kind of that was my whole thought. Like I've been listening to this album for at least 15 years, 16 years.
Sure, yeah.
Or maybe over a decade for sure.
Right.
But and so that was kind of my interpretation as a whole. As this, I kind of saw this as like a concept album about, something, a robot becoming sentient or whatever, or something inorganic becoming self-aware. And
okay.
That kind of life cycle and process that it would go through. I don't think I'm right. But who knows with Radiohead? They freaking maybe I'm way the fuck up. Maybe it's about frogs. I don't know.
Yeah. The two songs
kind of rapid fire that. But.
It's all good. The two songs that were the most familiar to me, as in like I could say with 100% certainty I'd heard them before. I
fucking know that song. Mm-hmm.
Were Optimistic and Idiotech. Are those like two of the more popular songs from this album out in the world?
Optimistic. I'm sorry, you cut out after Optimistic. What was the other one?
Idiotech.
Idiotech. Yeah. Okay, so how do you say Idiotech?
That's how it's spelled.
I always thought it was Idiot, like etiquette, but idiot. Does that make sense?
I guess, but that's not how. But it's
Idiot.
But it's spelled.
I know it doesn't. I know. I want it to be though. Like,
well, I mean,
I mean, this song is like most befitting, like for right now, where it's talking about panic and paranoia and things. Like that.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
I really want it to be Idiot.
But their buttholes are so clean.
Like for real. Like I've seen videos of people who have like no bullshit. Why do you need 8 gallons of milk?
Yeah, it's gonna spoil.
The expiration date's the same fucking time. Like it's not. Like,
yeah.
Milk. What the fuck? And
for fuck's sake, you can buy a bidet on Amazon for like $20. Like you don't.
Come on.
Or here's a thought: shower your nasty ass. If you run out of toilet paper,
take a shit and take a shower.
Shower your nasty ass. You don't need. Who the fuck's gonna run out of toilet paper? And gonna need like 64 rolls. The clams. Yeah, the shoe shells. He doesn't know how to use the seashells.
What an asshole.
Yeah. So yeah, I didn't know. Anyway, it's fucking.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I fucking lost my shit. I'm sorry.
People in large groups are retarded. Like
the worst.
They really are, though, Brack. They really are.
It's like. And, it makes me think of, like, that scene in Men in Black where Tommy Lee Jones is talking to Will Smith.
That's exactly where I got that quote. That's exactly where I came up with that. Yeah, that's exactly where I got that idea. I was like,
yeah, no, a person is smart. People are fucking stupid.
Yeah. That's exactly where I came up with that. You fucking, yeah. No, that was
so fucking appropriate.
Yeah, it really is.
So appropriate. Yeah, but sorry, I know there's a lot of side tangents. What are you gonna do? For the most part, I don't think Optimistic was as popular. I think just hanging out with me, you've heard Idiot Cat a lot more than you should have.
Probably.
Because that's not like one of their, because I love, that's, on hands down, that's my favorite Radiohead song ever of all time.
Okay.
I love that song.
Well, I guess we know what your number one is.
Yeah, I mean,
spoilers.
I'm not going to make any illusions about it. Yeah, for sure. Let's cut to 20 minutes from now. Yeah. That's what's happening. But I think the biggest song from this was Natural Anthem. Honestly.
Oh, yeah. That is the other familiar. Yeah, that was also familiar to me.
I think that was the one that you might have heard like on XM. I don't think you probably didn't hear it on the radio proper.
Well,
but you can probably hear it on like the 90s station or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I never listened.
Indeed.
I was never huge into the radio anyway. Like, I mean, let's be real.
I'm just saying, like, let's be real. The only real song anybody knows from Radiohead
is
listening to
Creep.
Yeah, and they fucking played it so much that Tom York has said he never fucking is gonna play it again ever live, and I'm fine. I'm fine with that. It's one of those songs where like I could never hear again and totally be fine with my life.
Yeah. Like, it's
like
fine.
Hotel California.
Yeah. It's fine. Like,
Cheeseburger in Paradise.
Right.
Sweet Home Alabama.
Right.
I could never. What I Got.
Oh, yeah.
Never hear it again. Fuck yeah, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, and I mean, there's like it's one of those things, right, where, like, I mean, I'm a guitar player, right? So those kinds of songs are the campfire songs that, like,
the GACD.
Yeah, I mean, it just is.
Just that round.
It just is when you're learning to play the guitar and you want to play for people and with people, like. Well, not necessarily with other musicians, because most musicians are like, can we just do something that's, like, good?
Yeah, for sure. It's that 4-chord or 3-chord song.
But, yeah, like...
What was that band that had that 3-chord song, and there was, like...
All of them?
They, like, mashed up all the songs.
Oh! Yeah.
Something, Axis of...
I know what you're talking about, but I can't place it. I don't...
Axis of Awesome or something like that?
Something like that.
3-chord song, and it's, like, every... GAC song,
right,
or whatever.
Right.
Just like mash it all up.
But yeah, I mean, you're sitting around with a group of people, and there's an acoustic guitar. Chances are, whoever can play the guitar is going to know What I Got for sure, hands down, or Santeria. One of those two will come out.
One of those two.
And then I don't know, fucking Sweet Home Alabama or Hotel California.
California. All those songs that you could never hear again.
All the shit.
Because they're easy to play.
All the shit, well, no, they're not necessarily. What I Got it's 2 chords. It's just that rock back and forth. It's super easy.
Is it G and F or something like that?
D. But yeah, G and D.
G and D, yeah.
But, so it's super easy to just rock back and forth on those chords. But like Hotel California is not that simple.
The main part is like I'm not saying like these solos and things like that.
No. I mean, even the chord progression is not simple. It's not. It's not just like 3 chords in sequence over and over and over and over again. It's actually a reasonably. I mean, it's chords that you can adapt it to just play major chords. Well, I think there's actually an A minor in there, and maybe a D minor.
Not an A minor. Oh my god!
Hey man, I'm just saying. There's probably like 5 or 6 chords in Hotel California, and they're not all. And like the verse is different than the chorus, and there's a bridge. So like it's significantly more complicated than rocking back and forth G and D for What I Got. You know what I mean?
Heard.
That being said, you can still play it with. They have some funky chords in there, but you don't have to use those. You can use whatever the equivalent is. Anyway, it's retarded. We'll get back to it.
Yeah, for sure.
The reason you learn those songs is because everybody knows them. So it's easy to go to an open mic and just play those songs.
They're people pleasers.
Yeah, they really are. So it's easy to learn those and play them and get a good reaction and appear better than you are. I mean, I did that the first, like, probably entire guitar playing career. You know what I mean? But I also went to the blues and learned stuff like that. But again, even with the blues, you start with the people pleasers, like,
Sweet Home Chicago or something.
Sweet Home Chicago, Pride and Joy, stuff
Pride
like
and Joy,
that.
yeah.
Like the 3-chord, 12-bar blues that are easy to repeat. You know, again, you're not going to do a solo like Stevie Ray. You're just not. But you learn those songs because it shows that, like, okay, I at least have an idea of, like, what good blues music is or what popular blues music is. And then you throw in, like, an obscure one or two so that the people that actually know what the fuck you're playing are like, hey, I can appreciate that. You know what I mean?
They're hip to that you know what you're doing.
Yeah, like Mary Had a Little Lamb. You know? Like, something like that.
God, I love that song.
God, I love that song. It's so good. It's so good.
Speaking of, segue, I totally get what you're saying, that, yeah, you do that to get the crowd engaged, but then you throw a little more flavor so you can show your chops.
It's an ego booster. It helps you want to keep learning more, so that you can, make your chops better. Yeah. Anyway, go on.
For sure. But speaking of, let's get back to the nursery rhyme thing. That's kind of the theme in Optimistic. It's, when I looked through this album, I had my theory in mind, but then when I, like, analyzed it song by song, I did notice there's a lot of different themes going on. They're a little more complex themes than I expected.
Okay.
Mostly like, there is that isolationism, there's that, alienation kind of thing. The song How to Disappear Completely.
Right.
In fact, that says it all for the most part. Just that kind of stuff. But Optimistic, they even use this piggy went to market. They're talking about humans as if they were livestock.
Okay.
And I feel like that's kind of, I think what they're trying to get across is just the inhuman treating, like, kind of what capitalism does to people. Like, we look at humans as numbers and figures instead of individuals.
Well, yeah.
And that's kind of their thing. That's what they were kind of saying. And then, like, In Limbo is a really fun one, but it's ethereal, but it talks about, like, kind of this existence where you're in sort of purgatory thing.
Okay.
I don't know. And also Idiot, like, they also talk about humans and that and as livestock, as panicky animals, which is what we are, for the most part.
Yeah.
But I love that it just talks shit about people. God, I love it when they talk shit about people. But there is a couple of things I want to hit before we move on. Is mostly it's How to Disappear Completely.
Okay.
It was that song was supposed to be. It's actually taken from a book, and the book is called How to Disappear Completely and Never Be Found: A Guide on Faking One's Death and Establishing a New Identity.
Okay.
Parentheses, ideally borrowed from an actual dead person with similar vital statistics.
Right.
In parentheses.
Yeah, that's echoed heavily in, like, the Anarchist Cookbook.
Mm.
Yeah, they do
I want to.
They do that whole thing too. They're like, yeah, if you're gonna steal an identity, do it from a recently dead person.
A dead person who looks like you.
Well, not looks like, is just the same demographic. So I guess looks like, but yeah,
sure.
same general age and
same
skin color and all that.
Yeah, that kind of shit. I want to hit on Natural Anthem. I think this is the most for in this whole album, that one is the most complex, I feel. Okay. That it starts off with that fucking awesome bass line.
Right, dude, it really does. Yeah.
And that fucking grabs your attention, and then the horns come in, and it's like it's like a calamity. It's like fucking if Pavement actually did their job well, that's what it should sound like.
Yeah, well, and the thing is this has that like that little horn solo in the middle of it, right? This is that one?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And man, I was just like, ooh, me so horny. You know, like, fuck, there's a lot of good horns here.
Sure.
But yeah, this song is like not quite instrumental. Like there's lyrics.
No, because there's lyrics. There's literally 13 words.
But only like
just repeated over.
Yeah, it's like there's lyrics, but only just. And I think that's okay.
It's fun. I think it works for the song.
It does.
It's talking about, and that's what the one thing that's always said over is so alone. Like it's this alienation.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of fits my theory that when you understand what society's all about, you feel so like overwhelmed, and it kind of takes you aback.
Okay.
By the just how people like, I don't know, if like an alien came down and looked at us kind of thing, like what would they think about humans and why we do things and stuff like that.
Okay.
And so I think just understanding the nuances of society is as far as we go is kind of overwhelming, and it doesn't make sense, and that's why it's chaotic, but it also has some underlining ideas. Like there's a rhyme and reason, but it kind of just feels chaotic.
Sure.
That's me. I don't know. That's just me.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay.
Thoughts. And then I want to hit Tree Fingers is fun. Okay.
That one is an instrumental. It's right.
Yeah, that one is the only instrumental one. Yeah.
Oh,
and it's real still.
Untitled is also.
Breaks up. Oh yeah, Untitled. You're right. Yeah, it just I think who was it? Somebody said that they wanted that song Tree Fingers in here because they wanted it. They kind of wanted to encapsulate the album in a song.
Okay.
And that's what they did. It was that they wanted it not too long or boring.
Okay.
And that's kind of their whole idea.
Yeah. Okay. It fits that.
Yeah.
It's a fun little short instrumental, and
yeah,
you know,
I mean, it's good.
And you know, they could have gone with Dick Fingers, but you know, they didn't.
Or Salad Fingers. An emo kid. And then, of course, we have in Limbo, Optimistic. Is there anything else I didn't say about Optimistic? No. Idiot Kid, yeah, favorite song. Upbeat, Shit Talking, Paranoia. Morning Bell. Here's a fun thought.
Okay.
So, when I listened to it, I thought it was kind of the calm after the storm kind of thing.
Okay.
Because Idiot Cat's so chaotic that it kind of it brings it back down after the fact. However, when I read the lyrics, for me it sounded like it was divorce. Like it was about divorce and like splitting up and like getting or not being in a relationship anymore.
Okay.
But from what I read, Tom York says that what he did was he had like a hard drive or whatever.
Okay.
And he would make music and store that on the hard drive. But he lived in this house that he assumed was haunted for the most part.
Okay.
And so one day, all of his stuff got deleted off that hardware. So all the songs and all these recordings and things that he had done were no longer there. And then, like, cut to like 3 months later, he's on like a flight back, and he puts that hardware. He puts his hard drive into his computer or something like that. And Morning Bell was the only song that was left.
Huh.
So he thought it was like, and so now we have like a Bedlam and Goliath situation where they were just haunted by things, and this is the only thing that came of all that.
Okay, well,
but it's about divorce.
I will say that Idioteque and Morning Bell, I got specifically with the intros, but with these songs, I got real Aphex Twin vibes. Like, and I guess the way I should preface this is, so Aphex Twin has a lot of like crazy beats with ambient backgrounds and then like kind of middle of the road melodies. And aside from the crazy beats, which these beats or these drum pieces were fast, but not like crazy fast. Like they didn't have like snare rushes and shit like that.
Yeah, for sure.
But the intros of these songs kind of reminded me of the kind of headspace that I think of when I think of Richard G. James' album by Aphex.
Aphex Twin.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. There might be some I believe there is crossover. I can see it. Now that you say it, I didn't think of it before, but now that you say it, it definitely does.
Well, it was one of those things that like before listening to the Aphex Twin album or before analyzing shit like this that like we do on this podcast, like I just listen to music in passing. I mean, yeah, I play music and I like to get into it, but unless something hits me in like just fucking hits me sideways the way that like I don't know, Felicia did.
Yeah.
Then
it makes you stop. Like, hold up, I have to write this down.
Yeah. Unless something hits me that fucking crossways, like I don't do that much analysis on music. I just don't. Again, with that band Newspeak, it just fucking I was listening to music and it just fucking hit me crossways. Like, holy shit, what is this? How have I never heard this before? Because this is fucking amazing. So
for sure,
but I don't analyze things that much, and this podcast has made me start doing that. So that's where I was just like, hey, there's some similarities here that I would have never noticed before. Not that I had ever heard Aphex Twin before we did that album anyway. So it is what it is. But.
Mm-hmm. So we've ruined music for each other. Fine, yeah, that's a long story.
I don't know about that. I think there's
no. I'm not kidding.
I think there's an argument to be had that it's enhanced in a way because when there's still, fuck man, if I'm driving for 3 to 6 hours, I might listen to whatever album's coming up, once or twice, but then I'm just gonna listen to podcasts or I'm gonna put it on just like my daily mix on Spotify and just go, and not even think twice about what I'm listening to. Like I said, unless something hits me sideways like Felicia did fucking 10 years ago.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Yeah, true. And I don't know how to respond to that. I like where you're coming from, and honestly, I'm thinking more of like this whole thing that we're doing is it makes me analyze more so than I normally would. Like I now find myself being more hypercritical on like whatever this song is actually trying to say. So like that, like for instance, there's a hit song out now. It's called Dance Monkey.
Okay.
And all my fucking kids listen to it. I've heard it on the radio a bunch of times. And it's a fun beat, but the real thing, like the whole message is that they're kind of like Pinocchio. They want to be like, they're a puppet on a string.
Okay.
And I don't know if people realize that. Like I've talked to a couple of my students about this because it's on one of my. I let the students pick some songs.
Okay.
That I'm like, okay, I can handle this song. I'm not gonna let you pick whatever the fuck, and you're not gonna. No.
Yeah.
I'm a music Nazi. No. Wait. I'll let some stuff slide, but for the most part, like I gotta like it first.
Right.
So like the Dance Monkey song, I was like, I remember like in my 7th period, I was like, hey man, do y'all know what they're talking about? Like, no, what do you mean? I was like, listen to the words. This is what they're saying. What?
Well,
why do you have to ruin stuff, Mr. Davis?
I think you're one of few people that do that. Like, I think I'm not going to say an outlier because I think a lot more people than would be considered an outlier analyze lyrics. But even after starting this podcast, I'm in the same boat of I usually don't care about the lyrics unless it's something like Footprints on the Ceiling, and then I'm like, oh shit, this is awesome. I'm like, I'm gonna listen to every word of this. You know, like, I don't know. I think I'm still. I hope I haven't ruined music for you, but I think personally, I'm still able to separate myself.
For sure, and there's dumb shit I listen to too. You know what I mean? Like, it's fine. Like, I like dumbass music. You know, I'll still rock some, you know, emo shit that doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
You know.
No, I'm right there with you. Like, you know. So I don't know.
No, it's not ruined exactly. I was being hyperbolic.
I got you. So we've gone through this.
Yeah. So you want to do top threes and P songs?
Sure. Let's. Yeah. That's kind of where I was heading.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So let's start with P songs.
Okay.
What's your P song?
Motion picture and Untitled.
Motion picture and Untitled.
Yeah. I don't know. So here's the thing. I feel like there's a trend in my P songs that a lot of them happen towards the end of the album because I listen to these albums in order, and so I'm fatigued by the end of it. Mm-hmm. So those two songs, I don't remember a whole lot about In Limbo. Tree Fingers was fine, but it's not like it's really pretty, but it's not something I'm going to go back to a whole lot.
For sure. I do. The only thing that I have to say about Motion Picture is that I love that arpeggio harp. It had this like duality to it where it was like bittersweet sound.
You're not wrong. I mean? That's what you're not wrong. It's something. It is something. I don't know if it's a harp or not, but it is something that sounds like that, where they're just like running their fingers across the strings and shit to make those arpeggios, and it is very pretty. But I could live without the song.
Yeah, I get it. Untitled. I really like Untitled. I think it's a good. Oh my good lord, sorry. I think it's a. I liked Untitled. I think I would defend it by saying that it kind of puts a nice bow on the end of the end of the album.
Okay.
So I like that's what I like. That's the only saving grace that I would give it. Is it kind of wraps it all up.
And to be fair, like. I will say that that's a nice thing to have. Like I said, I think fatigue sets in for me there. Just because, you know, like Morning Bell I like, but then Motion Picture I'm like, eh. And then, and by the time I get to Untitled, I'm already in the kind of state, and
You're already checked out after Morning Bell.
I think so.
After Motion Picture.
I think so.
And it just flows in. Yeah. I do like, actually in Untitled, what they did is there's two different albums, or two different cuts of this album.
Oh.
One of them, there's no, like at the beginning, there's like a minute of nothing and then a minute of nothing afterward.
That's annoying.
The other cut, it cuts that silence out. So like, well, I like the idea that it's silence and then the music starts, and then it's silenced.
I guess it gives you that like whole
deeper registering of,
that whole meditative, like get into a place kind of thing.
Yeah, for sure.
If you're into that, that's fine. Yeah, and I like meditation, but I'm not into that with my music. Just fucking play the music.
No, for sure. I just that was just what I liked about it.
Okay.
I'm not saying it's a great song or anything, but it's just that's you know.
All right. So then, what are
a fun story.
What are your P songs then?
I'd have to go. My number one is probably gonna. Or I think the only P song here, I'd have to agree with you, is that motion picture soundtrack.
Okay.
That or In Limbo is a pretty close second.
Yeah. I don't remember much about In Limbo, to be perfectly honest. So that's why I kind of grouped it in the same thing. It's just because I listened to this album probably 6 to 8 times, and I don't remember In Limbo.
Yeah, it's kind of, well, it's in limbo, isn't it?
Yeah.
Anyway, so you want to jump into top 3?
Yeah, let's go for it.
Okay, go for it. All right, so you want to do 3, 3, 2, 2, 1, 1?
Sure.
Okay. What's your number 3?
Huh. Let's go with National Anthem.
National Anthem?
Yeah, it's...
Why is it number 3?
It is recognizable. It's kind of interchangeable with Optimistic, if I'm being honest, for like that 3-4 spot. They're recognizable to me, and I remember these songs. And when I said, hey, the 2 most recognizable songs, and I didn't include National Anthem in that, as soon as you said it, I was like, oh, duh. But yeah, so...
It's actually... It's Natural Anthem, not National. Isn't it?
I don't...
Natural Anthem?
It showed up as National Anthem on my thing, but...
Is it National? I thought it was Natural.
Either way, I think it's a little better than Optimistic.
Oh, the National Anthem. Oh, my bad.
I think it's a little...
I thought it was Natural.
I don't know, but I think it's a little better than Optimistic, so... But it's kind of interchangeable in that 3-4 spot, so...
Okay.
What about you?
Yeah, for sure. We are in agreement.
Oh, okay.
That's my number 3 is Natural Anthem. I think it's a very intricate and complex song for sure. The bass line and the horns are fucking phenomenal.
Yeah, dude, they really are.
Like it's really, it kind of, I don't know, especially going from 1 to 2, this one sets a tone.
Yeah.
Like it makes it very clear that this is the sound now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it kind of stops you and like refocuses you to listen to this song.
Right.
That's what I liked about it. And it's fucking, it's like, okay, stop, collaborate, and listen.
Yeah.
Ice is back with a brand new
edition. Yeah.
For sure.
For sure. I think that sums it up really well, actually.
Yeah. All right. Well, what's your number 2 then?
Man, number 2, number 1 are tough. Because they're both very good songs and they're both very close. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna say Kid A. I'm gonna say Kid A is my number 2.
Which one? I'm sorry.
Kid A.
Kid A.
The title track.
2.
Yeah.
Really?
Man, like I said, that drum line is fucking not line. It's the drums in this are just fucking hypnotic, and they just
doom 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 doom.
They just pull me in, and I think what edges it out of the number 1 spot is that the lyrics are a little unintelligible, and that's not my favorite thing.
No, actually, did I talk? I don't know if I talked about this. What they did was is Tom York actually wrote down like a bunch of quotes and things, and he kind of mixed it up in a hat.
Okay.
And so like when he was supposed to say lyrics, he would just draw a random thing and say
That's a very Tom York thing to do. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's all this, but it has that garbly like
it's
voxy sounding thing. Like
it's
that.
not quite a talk box, but it's not quite like it's almost like Kenny from South Park screaming. It's not quite muffled, but it's not quite a talk box, but it's not quite over reverberated. It's kind of all of the above just jammed together.
It's kind of like okay, so for me, when I hear it, I think of like the Adventure Zone during the Crystal Kingdom when they do that.
Okay, yeah.
Here in my Crystal Kingdom, that you know what I mean, that vocalization thing where it's like that kind of thing, but it's just a matter of speeding up and slowing it down all at the same time, and then messing.
Yeah,
with
throwing a layer of distortion over it. Yeah, for sure.
It's almost like like taking a segment of sound and like backmasking it, and then messing with the with like the speed and pitch and things like that.
But yeah, this has a very good rhythm. This like I said, I was just fucking hypnotized by the intro of this song, and it's hard for me to separate that because it brings you in so well to the song that once you're in, you're just like, okay, the rest of the song, it doesn't even matter. You're fucking hypnotized. So I think that's why it makes my top 3. What about you? What's number 2?
For me, my number 2 is going to be Everything in Its Right Place.
Okay.
And I was today years old when I found out that what's the lyric? Something about I ate a lemon.
Okay.
Right,
Yesterday I woke up sucking a lemon.
Okay, sucking on a lemon. Yes, yesterday I woke up sucking on a lemon. I did not know that's what that was. I always heard it as I woke up sucking on young blood.
Okay.
And so I thought like the fetus thing.
Oh.
Again, you know what I mean? I woke up sucking on
right.
the being born. Like it fit in my reality.
Okay.
But I was like, a fucking lemon? God damn it, Tom! What the fuck?
It is.
God damn
it is a very pretty song. As all of these are, but it is a very pretty song.
Yeah. And I think it's an amazing way to open this album.
I would agree with that.
I think this song is a very, like, it has that smooth, like, doo-doo-doo-doo-doo, like the piano comes in and it's fucking, like, I don't know. It sets the tone very, very well, and it's so pretty.
It eases you into Radiohead, and what Radiohead is, because this album is very Radiohead, if my unexperienced ass does say so myself.
No, for sure. This is Radiohead with training.
Yeah, and this is a great way to, like you said, open the album. So I get where you're coming from, for sure.
All right. Well, you already know what my number one is, but what's your...
Well, here's the thing. Our number ones are the same.
Of course it is. Of fucking course
Idiotech is the best song on this album.
It fucking damn sure is. Tell me why.
Dude, it's... Okay, so all the things you said before. Also, if I remember correctly, this thing has not quite movements, but movements. Mm-hmm. Am I thinking correctly? Did I like
movements? Define your, because it starts off with the Ice Age coming, Ice Age coming.
Yeah,
we're not scaremongering. This is really
it's
happening.
Got different kind of themes going on in different places, if I remember correctly. Unless I just fucked it up.
I don't think so, but I did have. I think subliminally you might like this song because I used to have this Radiohead poster in my apartment, and it was just the lyrics to this song.
Maybe.
And it was like the guy from the Scream.
Okay, well,
looking thing. It was like a red and white poster.
Maybe the movements I'm thinking of are a different song, but this does have this thing is like, this thing is, because it's got this like, it's got this thing in the background that's really good, and it's got this drive to it that was reminiscent of Aphex, like I said earlier, but in a way that I liked better than Aphex, because I don't like the snare rushes and shit like that. Like, this took everything I liked about that kind of, the way that Aphex mixes shit. This fixed everything all the problems that I had with it. And not to make this so comparative, because this has got so many more lyrics than, an instrumental album did. But the production value is really good. The bass line is really good. The drums again in this song are, fucking killer.
Machine-like.
They're amazing. And so even if I got the movement thing wrong, maybe that was one of my other songs that I was liking. But this thing is good, and I agree with you that it's the best song on the album. It's a lot of fun to listen to, and yeah, I don't know. I don't need to defend it any more than that. You already know.
Yeah, for sure. What I do like about this song that I think it does well is that this is a song that is instilling the idea of panic and paranoia, like panic for the most part. So like I feel like the drums are like somebody's accelerated heartbeat. So it's that it's not that fast, but it's like boom boom, like an accelerated heartbeat, like when you are in fear, like your heart rate goes up. And I think that is to enhance the style of the song and the tone of the song. And also in the background of most of this song, Tom York is saying "Women and Children first."
Oh, is that what it is?
So that also like women and children for
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
So like that also like hypes up your brain to put you in this subliminal panic mode. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like ice age coming, throw it in the fire, that kind of stuff. Whatever. Like he's talking about global warming and all these other things that we should be afraid of, but it's more of like a cry for like this hysteria, and that in the background just feeds your like lizard brain to make you more worried and off and on edge.
Okay. All right.
I don't know, man. This is a fucking great song.
It really is, though, Bragg. I don't remember what I was talking about with movements. Maybe I'll have to go back and listen, and maybe I'll change my mind. But I do remember going through this album and being like, this is an amazing song. So,
it is a great song. And if you've never seen Tom York play this live, holy shit. Look that up right now. He loses his motherfucking mind. That was this song was the closing song that they played when I saw them live.
Nice.
Oh my god. Shit was buck fucking wild. I was losing my fucking mind when he played this song. I was like, oh my god, is it
That's awesome.
Yeah. No, he loses. I mean, he fucking goes. He goes to 11 every time he plays this song.
Okay,
it's amazing.
Okay, so anyway. I don't know. Do you have any other closing thoughts on this?
No. I kind of still stand on my that this is. I want to say that this is the idea of the album. The more I listen to it, the more I think my theory has a lot of holes in it, but. I think it's defendable. Okay.
I
wouldn't write a fucking thesis on it or anything like that. But
separating from your theory, I guess what I'm fishing for is.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, do I have any more?
No.
To say? No.
Well, I'm curious about. I am curious about something.
Okay.
Later on the list, we come across OK Computer. Is OK Computer a better album than this? Before we've actually analyzed it.
I don't even have to think about it. Yes, it is a better album.
Okay, so then
but I love that there are 2 Radiohead albums on this list, and they got it right.
Okay,
I think these are the best of Radiohead. I'm not a real fan of their early stuff like Pablo Honey or
I don't think I'm even familiar with that album, to be honest. I think I might be familiar with
Iron Lung,
either In Rainbows or OK Computer, but I'm not sure. I know I've listened to OK Computer.
In Rainbows was later. I think that was 2012. And then they had King of Limbs that came out in 2000 and... No. I'm sorry. In Rainbows was 2008. I believe King of Limbs was like 2012 or 2013.
I have no idea. You're far more familiar.
I might have. I think I fucked that up. But I do believe that this is their number 2 album for sure.
Okay.
OK Computer is leaps and bounds better, especially since OK Computer came out in like 98, and really the driving force for this album is their exhaustion from what they had to do to make OK Computer and tour and things like that.
Okay.
I think they got a lot of like influence from just being burnt the fuck out with doing like touring and all the things that come with it.
Okay.
So that's why it's kind of that's why it has a lot of these like isolationism, this separation from humans kind of thing.
Okay.
I think that's like a driving force for why they wrote the album.
Well, I think that this album is very pretty, and I think that it has a lot of good on it. I think a lot of the songs on here are fantastic. I think it's a really good introduction to Radiohead as a whole. It's easy to listen to. So if you're not familiar, so to the audience, if you're, of the all like 3 of you that listen, if you're not familiar with Radiohead, which you are, this is a good introduction to Radiohead, and
you're yelling at us right now for fucking up
and it's
so much.
easy to listen. Probably, yeah. So I guess the last thing we got to do is
did I lose you?
No, I'm here.
Uh-oh. Andrew.
Hey. Technical difficulties.
Well,
Hey.
Andrew's gone.
No, I'm not.
So I'm gonna have to wing it.
I'm right the fuck here. Shut the fuck up.
I would say that this.
Hold on.
This is this album. I would say is probably their third best. I think it's their more experimental side. That what they do is very different from a lot of what. I mean, it kind of leads you into what's going to happen in the future.
Hey.
Sort of like Kill 'Em All with Metallica.
Hey.
That you see things to come. And we see this in Hail to the Thief, which is a really good album, which also has like two of my top 3 favorite Radiohead songs. And then we see it more in Rainbows, and especially with like the drum machine kind of thing, where it's like that boom clap thing.
So we've got one last thing to do, that like is part of our format. Where would you rate this between Slanted and Enchanted and Goodbye Yellow Brick Road?
I'd have to say it's right under Goodbye Yellow Brick Road.
Okay.
Surprising no one.
Okay.
Yeah. Where would you put it?
Well, I liked Midnight Vultures better than this album, I think.
Okay.
So that really means, do I also like Off the Wall by Michael Jackson better than this?
Ooh. Is Off the Wall in our top 20?
Yeah.
Is it?
It's right below Goodbye Yellow Brick Road for you. It's right below Midnight Vultures for me.
Okay.
So
yeah, no. I like it better than Off the Wall.
I think this is gonna go. Yeah, I'm gonna say, man, I don't know. This is some of this album I like better than Off the Wall, and some of this album I like Off the Wall better, or some of these albums, I should say. I think these albums trade punches very well. So I think it's going to go right around there. The one I have right below that is Mothership Connection, and I think it punches a little above Mothership Connection, if I'm being honest.
Okay.
But I'm not sure if it I think it trades blows with Off the Wall really well. So that's like Off the Wall is like number 5 on my list. So yeah, I think that's good. I think it making my top 5, compared to the 20 that we reordered, I think is fair for not being like a super Radiohead fan.
No, I think you mentioned that, and I forgot to write Off the Wall on my list. That I think it's dead even with Off the Wall.
Yeah, I think it trade punches as well with that album.
You know I don't know if it can go above it, but I think can we have like a tie for? Yeah,
that's fine. I think
that'd be the first.
This is our scale, right? Like, where would you put it? Compared to our list, where what place does it take with this list, right? And I think it's right there with Off the Wall.
Yeah. I wouldn't say it's above it. I wouldn't say it's below it. I think it could easily swatch watches. What?
I think it hits in the same.
It could swap.
I think it's in the like I said, same weight class. I don't know. That's about all I've got. I mean, this is a really good album. It's gonna be one of those things that I've played enough now that Radiohead should start popping up more in my Spotify stuff. And I'm okay with that. Like, I see a lot of, I'll be honest, I see a lot of, like, what comes up naturally in my mixes, is like, of course it's like Zeppelin and Stevie Ray, because duh, right?
Yeah.
But there's also like a bunch of atmosphere in there, and I'm not mad about it. And like, some NWA sneaks in, and I usually skip it if I'm being honest. Some like Beastie Boys slip in there, some metal of just all kinds, because I don't know, got back into Black Label Society the other day, and Beck is a frequent thing. John Lennon and surprisingly covers of John Lennon pop up into my mixes all the fucking time, and I'm not mad about that. So really, like, the top, like, 10 of how we reordered it, that shit just, like, kind of comes up in my mix a lot. And, like, the bottom 10, not as much. So I think we, at least for my Spotify, the way that it knows that I like shit, and that's even with the corruption of my girlfriend being on the same account coming in, which is goddamn a lot of Gypsy Kings. They're good, but fuck, man, it doesn't need to be every other song. Come on. Like, it's almost like that's all she listens to.
But you're not falling, like, in love, internet
love
with you?
Like, they're fine. Yeah. They're fine, but it's almost like that's exclusively what she listens to. It pops up in my feed so much.
Yeah, can we have Kay on for the first Alicia Keys album? Like, can we, like, whenever we have our next break, can she come on and defend Alicia Keys?
No. I said no. I said Gypsy Kings.
Oh shit! I thought you said Alicia.
No. No, son. I said Gypsy Kings, like the fucking Spanish band. Or maybe they're Mexican, I'm not actually sure, but they speak in Spanish, and it's all, they're good, don't get me wrong, but I would much rather listen to Rodrigo y Gabriela, if I'm gonna go that route. Anyway.
I'm way less excited about it.
Yeah.
I thought you said Alicia.
No.
Like, fuck yes, well, let's do a couple of her albums.
No, I might be slightly happier. Maybe not. I don't actually know. I don't know jack shit about Alicia Keys.
She's amazing. That's all you need to know.
Anyway, you got anything else for this?
Nah, man. Beyond that, I've kind of pontificated as much as I'm gonna do. Just if you don't know Radiohead, listen to them.
Yeah, for sure.
They're fucking awesome.
I agree with that statement. I wasn't super familiar. I mean, I was kind of, having like a solid 6 months of just eating mushrooms like every weekend, but,
yeah. They also laughed at Scott Tenorman when Cartman made him eat his parents, so.
Yeah, so, I don't know.
There's that.
Listen to Radiohead. They're good. Guys, thanks for listening. Find us wherever you get your podcasts. Spotify, Stitcher, YouTube. What's the other big one? iTunes. Duh. Fuck. I don't own Apple. Rate, review us. Let us know what you think. Talk to us on Facebook at facebook.com/SadPandaPresentsPodcast. It's as the good Lord Dave would say, cucumbersome, I know. I didn't mean to make him a god, but whatever. He inspired us. Hit us up. Let us know what you think.
Big Daddy Dave.
Big Daddy Dave. There you go. I like
Big Dick Daddy.
I really like Big Daddy Dave.
Big Daddy Dave.
That's really good. Anyway, hit us up on Facebook. We'll interact with you and reply to your comments and stuff like that. Which Shane is actually turning out to be better than I am. When it comes to that, but regardless, we will talk to you, and sometimes I chime in too. If you want to suggest an album, we will get to it. We have a few on the backlist, but it's only like 4 or 5 that are backed up. And if you want to be on an episode and we know you personally, then fucking come on. If we don't know you personally and you're a total stranger, then maybe.
No, it's fine. Fuck it. I don't give a shit. Strangers are just friends you haven't met yet.
Yeah. Like over Discord, not in person.
Yeah, if you would have come to my house right now, like it's the cleanest it's ever been. 2 more weeks to fucking sit around and fucking. I wish I did meth again so I can clean the shit out of my house. Make sure my light bulbs are fucking dusted and shit. So who's got that kind of motivation?
So anyway, hit us up.
Anyway, this is Pontific.
Thanks for listening. I don't have anything else. Thanks for listening, guys.
All right, thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. Be like Nate Glines. Talk to us. Let us know what you feel, what you think. He did not like Jay-Z's The Blueprint. He clapped back on that and sent me a video of Nas talking shit to Jay-Z.
He sure did. He sure did. Nate Lyons is probably like, man, you probably talk to us the most, so get up on here, big boy.
There you go. Nate, especially, straight up, Nate Lyons, I am speaking to you and you alone.
I mean everybody, but...
Pick an... No. I am speaking to Nate Lyons.
Yeah.
Yo, pick an album you want to be on, and please be on it. We would love to have you.
He's not wrong.
Yeah. You gave us the Ugly Organ, and I'm so amazed that Andrew loved that album.
We do regret not like actually having you on for doing that album. I'm not gonna lie.
For that album. It's a thing. I mean, I light a candle every day. I have to do an extra rosary.
I've got one of those religious candles, but it's got your picture on it.
I light it every day, man.
I hope you get embarrassed, and I hope we did. No, but real talk. Thanks, man. It's been real. And we hope to hear more from you every time. Anyway, everybody else, fucking be like Nate Lyons, who like comments on all our posts and shit and interacts, because we will talk to you back. And he knows that, so get on the fucking train like he is. That's all I got.
All right. Well, if nothing else, man, thank you guys for listening. I really appreciate it. And y'all have a good evening. And please wash your fucking ass and your hands.
Get a bidet.
Maybe not in that order, but
no. I think that's a good order. Wash your ass and then wash your hands. I think that's a great order. I don't want you to wash your hands and then wash your ass.
You're right. Yeah, no, I said it right. You're right. Anyway, love you guys. Y'all have a good night.
Bye. Oh, sure. Whatever.